A pathless wilderness, wild, rugged. That was the Black Hills of South Dakota in the early 1870s. A hardy frontier, far from the paths of civilization, where fortune beckoned with a glittering smile and life hung on the quickness of a trigger finger. There was gold in them thar hills, gold at Spring Creek, gold at Crook City, gold at Central City, gold on the mountains, in the rivers, and in the dark depths far below the surface of the earth. For centuries uncounted, men have sought, fought, and died for gold, as they did in the Black Hills when the West was young. Brave men came from the north, the east, the south, the west. By the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, they tunneled the mountainside, they combed the gulches, they strained the rivers, creeks, and streams in their wild quest for gold. But the romantic day of the placer miner was short-lived. No more could gold be washed from the coarse gravel of the creek beds. The placers were worked out. The bewhiskered pioneer with pick, shovel, and gold pan had served his day. And that day he served well, for he set the stage for a greater era and new industry destined to take its place with agriculture in South Dakota. Among the men who sought for gold in those daring days was Moses Manuel. He was interested in the scientific mining of hard rock formation, getting gold out of quartz ore so hard it could not be chipped by a miner's pick. Manuel and his party prospected the winter of 1875 without success. And then, on April 9, 1876, they discovered a ledge, an outcropping of ore that then was termed a lead. They sank their discovery shaft in the side of a draw, and they called it Homestake Lead, and the mining camp which leaped to life took the name of Lead City. The original site of the Homestake mine has disappeared, and in its place has risen a thriving industry geared to modern progress. Today, Lead is still a mining camp, but a mining camp with 20th century trimmings. The Homestake mine is still there, for lead is homestake and homestake is lead. But mining in the glamorous days of yore is a far cry from the complicated and scientific methods in use today. It takes more than a pick and shovel to get gold ore out of the ground now, and more than a gold pan to get the gold out of the ore. Would you like to mine for gold? Today, gold mining means raw materials, men and construction, combined with the science of chemistry and the wonders of modern engineering, all of which are necessary to make homestake ore pay. New construction, which will take 2 years at a cost of about $3 million to complete. This complex steel structure, the head frame, rises from a man-made mountaintop plateau to reach nearly 150 feet skyward. In this massive building, made with more than 800,000 bricks, steel and concrete, giant equipment will control the hoisting and lowering of cages which carry men and materials. This model of the Yates shaft shows what has to be done. The great construction work underground, blasted out of solid rock, but it isn't done from the top down. The shafts are cut from the bottom up. Tunnels, or drifts as the miners call them, are blasted from the solid rock to connect old workings with the exact location of the new shaft. Then the latter moves upward in many separate segments or links, which one by one are merged into a single vertical opening. Precision engineering makes sure the drifts meet the new shaft at the right places. But it's not as easy as that. Opening up a level and placing it in proper condition for mining requires many months of work, drilling, blasting, ditching, hauling waste rock. More than 3.5 million feet of timber, or enough to build more than 200 5-room houses, go into the shaft. This drift leads to one of the ore bodies. 2 years to finish the job. Hundreds of men at work under the ground, on the surface, high in the air. 2 years of work through the toughest kind of rock, millions of feet of timber, hundreds of tons of concrete and steel, thousands upon hundreds of thousands of dollars for equipment before one single ton of ore can be taken out. That's what gold mining is today. Where is that old-time pick and shovel now? The new Yates plant, when complete, will look like this several million-dollar Ross plant, built in 1934 with a shaft where operations are now being conducted on many levels. The levels are spaced 100 feet apart down to 1,100 feet. Then 150 feet apart to the bottom of the mine. Now we're after gold. Down we go.
8-1. 8-1.
That's the signal we heard a moment ago. The marvels of shortwave radio used for safety in the mining of gold ore. These great and powerful drums, each holding more than a mile of stout steel hoisting cable in one layer, wind and unwind rapidly as the cages speed up and down the shaft, carrying their cargo to a safe haven. Vertical transportation, lowering human cargo over 4,000 feet into the earth, 4 times as deep as the height of the Empire State Building. Flashes of light are levels. An indicating arm is geared with micrometer fineness and tells the operator exactly where the cage is at all times. 3,650 feet, 3,800 feet, 3,950 feet, 4,100 feet below the surface, at a speed more than 3 times as fast as a modern elevator, in perfect safety. Over 2,000 men work for Homestake. The miners work in 2 shifts which are rotated, changes in hours for every man. At Homestake, safety is a first consideration. Helmets of light material tougher than steel, work lamps with a battery to keep them lighted for 8 hours, steel-toed shoes with spiked soles for safety. But above all, it is the thorough understanding of their job and an unfailing observance of safety practices on the part of the men themselves that have brought the Homestake record to its remarkably low accident rate. Prospecting, shaft sinking, drifting, raising, cross-cutting, diamond drilling, all preliminary to actual mining of the ore. Here's the air-driven diamond drill outlining the gold-bearing rock. Gold ore is mined by 2 methods: the shrinkage stope method without timber and the square set method with timber. These miners are climbing into a stope from which the ore is being removed by the shrinkage method. Shrinkage stope mining consists of breaking ore away from solid rock. As the roof of the opening or stope becomes higher, the miners use the broken ore as a platform on which to work. Loose rock hanging overhead is pried off with long steel bars. Miners call this barring down. Pneumatic drills bite deep into the tough, hard ore to make holes for blasting. 10 feet into solid rock. Every day, 3,000 steel drills go into the mine. Every day, 3,000 steel bits are taken out for sharpening. Prying down loose rock, drilling holes deep into the ore, and loading the holes for blasting require an 8-hour working cycle. 3 million sticks of dynamite every year, 1 million blasting caps to set off 1 million blasts for nearly 1.5 million tons of ore mined annually in the Homestake mine. The blasting is done at the end of the day. Out go the tools and out go the men to a safe place far from the blast. They light the fuses, the smoke curls up. It's all over until another shift repeats the cycle. When the shrinkage stope is mined up to a height of 125 feet, the chamber is filled with broken ore, which must be drawn through chutes into 1-ton cars. Strong timber planking and steel guards protect the loaders from flying ore. 1 ton of ore to a car, 20 cars to a train. 20 tons of solid ore and not a flake of gold in sight. Locomotives powered by electricity, locomotives powered by compressed air, all run on tracks from all points underground, run regularly on a complete railway system. 80 miles of steel track to carry equipment, materials, and gold ore. Ore mined by the square set method consists of timbering to take out the ore which was left in place to support the roof and sidewalls during shrinkage stope mining. These men are working under the pillar you saw in the picture a moment ago. The process is the same here as in the shrinkage stope method. Drill, blast, and remove the ore. Water runs through a rifle drilled hole in the center of the drill steel. The water does 3 jobs: cools, lubricates, and prevents dust. Down goes the ore to the loading level below, and what punishment that timber takes. It has to be strong to stand that pounding. 1 foot square, tough timber from the Black Hills. This model shows you what the mine actually looks like. A massive underground structure of sturdy timber. The higher up the miners drill and blast away, the farther down the ore falls. The miners go up and the ore comes down. In this subterranean cavern are supplies ready for use. Timber for extending the square set structure, tools, drills, and extra equipment, standing by on the job for the time it is needed. Air for power and air for help. Every minute of every day, 500,000 cubic feet of fresh air go into the mine, and 500,000 cubic feet come out. Clean, fresh air every minute of the day for every man underground. These men are working in a heading, a dead end away from the main drifts and crosscuts of the mine, but they get plenty of clean air through canvas or galvanized iron ventilating pipes. 4,000 feet underground, but still there is air for the miners and air for power. But why air for power? To drive 500 air drills, 38 air locomotives, small ventilating fans, and other equipment. Where does it all come from? Why, it comes from here. These great compressors running day and night furnish high-pressure air for many machines. Water for spraying to keep down the dust. Water from sand used in filling worked-out shrinkage stopes. Water from the earth. Water for the drills. 600 gallons of water pumped from the mine each minute, or enough for a city of 20,000 people. And it all has to go someplace. But where's the gold? Let's look for it. That's funny, there's none to be seen. It's there all right, but in minute quantities. 4/10 of an ounce to a ton of rock. The ore is hoisted at night. This skip is filled with 8 tons of ore, and there it goes. 25,000 pounds of ore and steel at 2,500 feet per minute. All of the new timber used in the mine is lowered through shafts. The old and broken timber is hoisted to the surface. More than 1,000 miners are lowered and hoisted through the shafts every day. This heated tunnel leads directly from the shaft to a modern change house. The miners pass from the shaft to this room without going outside. Here, modern facilities guard against sudden changes in temperature, safety precautions on the surface as well as underground. Here's the gold ore again, and what a beating is in store for that rock. The ore is on its way now to the gyratory crusher, the first of a series of crushing machines. No one machine can do the job, so the Simon's crusher now breaks the rocks down to about 2-inch size, like this. It takes power and plenty of it. 2-inch pebbles from chunks of solid rock, but it's only the beginning. From the crusher to the stamp mill, 180 stamps, each with a falling weight of 1,550 pounds. 300,000 tons of water are used every 24 hours in the process to reduce the ore to a fineness sufficient for the removal of the gold.